So Rabbi Sai, we are pre-Chanukah here, Erev Chanukah here, so I'm going to take a little break on brain death and Shabbat Tzvi. I know that you're all upset. I know you're all upset about that. We're actually going to give a yeshivish regular shiur on Inyonei Chanukah. I see, no magic and no false messiahs and no amulets. Okay, so let's go. I'm very excited. It's finally a normal yeshivish shiur. So we have here a Gemara that says Tana Bonan, Mitzvah Chanukah, right? There are no Gemaras, there are no Mishnayos about the Chanukah, only Gemara in Shabbos basically, a couple other places. That itself is a discussion why that's so. But it brings me Tana Bonan, Mitzvah Chanukah. What is the Mitzvah Chanukah? Ner, Ish, Ubeisai. Candle, man, and his house. There you go, succinct, to the point. Man, candle, and house. Fine. The Mahadrin. And if you want to go up to the next level of Mahadrin, Ner l'kol echad echad. Everyone in the house has their own candle. The Mahadrin, Min Mahadrin, and if you are like on an extra special level, then we know you will go like Beis Shammai, you add candles each day based on the day of Chanukah. So the first day you have 2, first day you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, Beis Shammai says you go down, Beis Hillel says you go up. Okay, we'll talk about that more a little bit later. So 3 levels. So what is the basic level? You got a house with 5 robust young men from yeshiva and maybe a bunch of girls. One candle, that's it. 1 candle, that's it. That's all you need. 1 candle, nothing more, right? If you go to the next Mahadrin, you have a candle for everyone. And Mahadrin is that you have a candle that represents each respective day. Fine. So everyone knows there's a famous machlokes. We're going to concentrate now on the Mahadrin level. There's a famous machlokes between the Rambam and the Ramah. What does that mean? What does Mahadrin mean? So we all know, according to the Ramah, it means like this. If you do basic level, dad, 1 candle for everyone. That's it, 1 candle. Even though there are 5 boys there, over 13. Mahadrin is that each boy does it on his own. Each boy lights on his own, right? So on the Mahadrin level, you're going to have 5 candles for the 5 boys, besides the fathers, right? Right. But the Rambam does not learn that way. We all know the Rambam doesn't learn that way. How does the Rambam learn? The Rambam learned that there's only 1 person who lights. According to the Rambam, it's the father that always lights. Whether level number 1, level number 2, level number 3, it's always only the father that lights. Again, according to the Rambam, each individual boy will light on his own. Right? So you'll have 5 separate lightings. According to the Rambam, Ketzad, Harishaya Anshe Bayis Asar, below Rishon Mazik Asar Neris. Rambam says openly, it's only the father lighting. It's only the father lighting. He just lights a candle to represent each person in his house. So if he wants to do Mahadrin, so he has 5 boys in the house, the dad will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the first night. And in the Ramah's world, right? The dad will light, a couple minutes later the other kid will light, the other kid will light, a couple other kid will light. Okay? So again, we're concentrating on the Mahadrin section. Right. And here's the Beis Halevi's famous question. The Rambam is basically the only Rishon that talks about how exactly you do it. So why would the Ramah argue on the Rambam? Why would he argue on him? Why would the Ramah seem to invent that by Mahadrin, each person, each child, or each male over 13 does it individually? That's the famous question. Oh, so we have here, which I forgot to bring, the famous Brisker Rav. You don't start anything before in Chanukah until you learn this famous Brisker Rav. And the Brisker Rav is dealing with this question of what is the machlokes between the Rambam and the Ramah. And the Brisker Rav says famously that this machlokes is an old machlokes. Machlokes in the Rambam and the Ramah is actually predicated or based on an old-time machlokes that they've been having for a long time. The Rambam in other areas. What's this other machlokes? We know that when you do a bris milah, there is something called tzitzin ma'akvin and tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin, right? Basically, there's the foreskin, you got to take off most of it. But if you leave a teeny bit over, it's called tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin. Tzitzin means like fibers or strands. Ein ma'akvin. So you don't really got to take it off. But it's a hiddur. It is a hiddur to take it off. That's open Gemara, right? The open Mishnah in Rebbe Elazar Demila. Okay? Tzitzin ma'akvin. So tzitzin ma'akvin, you got to take it off. That's ma'akvin. If you don't take it off, it's considered that you're still oral. It's still considered that you're uncircumcised. But since the Ein Ma'akvin is extra credit. Okay, now, so the Gemara talks about over here, seemingly the Gemara is talking about over here, is, let's say it's Shabbos. Now you know that a bris milah, in principle, we do it on Shabbos, but really it's Chil Shabbos, because you're making the child bleed, right? So in principle, I'm taking off skin also. So basically, only because of a special Gzeres HaKosiv, we're allowed to do bris milah on Shabbos. Only because of a special Gzeres HaKosiv, you're allowed to do a bris milah on Shabbos. Okay. So what about the tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin? We said the extra fiber strands, extra fibers, ein ma'akvin. It's a hiddur. It's a nice thing. It's a hiddur mitzvah. It's nice to do a clean cut, to take that all off, right? If you're doing it, do it right. But you don't got to take off these extra strands. Do you take it off on Shabbos? Well, seemingly no, because tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin is not an integral or an essential part of bris milah. So if this is not an essential part of bris milah, why should it be mechal Shabbos for those extra fibers? So the halacha is like this. If while you're doing the milah on Shabbos, you, with one fell swoop, you aren't pirish, you take off the tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin, you're allowed to do it on Shabbos. Meaning, so on Shabbos you cut the skin that you must take off. If right away you cut off the tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin, even though it's hiddur mitzvah, even though it's extra credit, but you could be mechal Shabbos for the extra credit because it's considered part of the one act. Since the tzitzin ma'akvin, meaning since the main part of the bris milah you did on Shabbos, and right away, toichin dibor, simultaneously, you take off the tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin, even though the tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin are not really an essential part of bris milah, but we look at it as a large act, one act. And just like you Michal Shabbos for the first part, you Michal Shabbos for the second part. But let's say you, on Shabbos, you took off the main part of the milah, and then the male went for a coffee break, and he says, oh my gosh, I forgot about the tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin, I forgot about the hiddur mitzvah part. Then you can't do it on Shabbos anymore. Because why should you now Michal Shabbos for a new procedure that the new procedure you don't need to do? So again, that's called pirish. That's what the Gemara says over here, right? So if it's tzitzin hama'akvin, if it's fibers that you must do, of course it's Michal Shabbos. That's like doing the bris itself, right? So, but on tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin, it's the milah, pirish, if you did a break between the actual bris milah and the tzitzin, then you don't go back and do it on Shabbos. Then you're not chayz al tzitzin. Okay, so seemingly, the way we set up over here is like this. And this is the way the Rambam sets it up. On Monday, let's say on Monday. So you did the bris milah, the 98%, and you're good to go. You're just missing the couple of extra fibers called the tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin, the hiddur part. On Monday, does it make a difference if the male took a coffee break in between the main bris and the tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin? Or no, he should go back. He should go back. On Monday, even though he took a half an hour break between the main bris and the tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin, he should go back. Why not? Do the hiddur mitzvah. Why not? Right? It's only, the whole discussion is only about Shabbos. On Shabbos, where there's the Chil Shabbos issue, so if you do it simultaneous, it's not called the Chil Shabbos because since on the main part you're allowed to do Michal Shabbos, you ready to just tag along the hiddur part. But if there's a separation, you can't go to the hiddur part, right? That is the way the Rambam learns. And that's what we pass Kalach Maisa. If the male messes up and doesn't do the extra credit tzitzin, he should go back and do it later on. No. But if you look at the Rambam, The Rambam learns that no, this sugya is not only talking about Shabbos. This sugya is talking about Sunday, Monday, Tuesday also. And the Rambam holds, if the Moyel only did 99% of the bris, and he left over tzitzin she'ein ma'akvin, he left over the extra tzitzin that you do for Hiddur. Well, if you took a half an hour break, you don't got to go back to do them because it's too late. You can't do a Hiddur mitzvah a half an hour after you did the mitzvah, right? So basically, according to the Rambam, this halacha is not only for Shabbos, it's for always. You say, Mr. Moyel, you did 99%, that's it. You can't do the Hiddur mitzvah anymore. It's too late. You can't come a half an hour later and do a Hiddur. Because the whole concept of a Hiddur is that it's tagged, it's attached to the main mitzvah. You can only do a Hiddur mitzvah, you can only embellish the mitzvah when you're doing the actual mitzvah. So if the Moyel does 99% and right away does the extra 1%, the extra 1% being the Tisha Ma'akvin, so great. You have the mitzvah and you have the embellishment, you have the mitzvah, the Gufa mitzvah and the Hiddur. You haven't done it one time. But if there's a half an hour break, that's it. You can't do a Hiddur and add it on any more to the mitzvah. A famous machlokes, let's put it in perspective, machlokes, Ramah, and the Rambam. Now, since we have to go soon, I'm not going to go through it's a complicated sugi that I would show you exactly how the Rambam learns, how the Ramah learns. I'm going to skip that part. But this is the bottom line. According to the Ramah, could you have a mitzvah and a Hiddur that are not exactly done at the same time? Can you have a mitzvah and later on add on an embellishment? Yes. You can have a half an hour break. You can have an hour break. The mitzvah, the Gufa mitzvah and the Hiddur don't have to happen simultaneously. Right? According to the Rambam, no such thing. It's either the Guf mitzvah and the Hiddur have to happen at the same time, or relatively close to each other. But if there's it's basically simultaneously. But Ramah, you have 5 years. 5 years. The Ramah, you could do the bris milah at 8 days. You did 99%, and when you're 30 years old, oh my gosh, there's a little piece of strands here that we didn't take off. Take it off right down in there. Okay. That's the famous machlokes of the Ramah and the Rambam, and that's what it is. That's what it is.
Is there nobody who thinks that maybe there's a problem of doing it later? It could be out unnecessary cutting. You're not allowed to cut yourself without a valid.
No. Okay, good. So says the Brisker. Now, it's again another part. I'm not going to get involved. The famous Hakir by Esrig. Let's say you shake an esrog that's kosher on Sukkot, and then you find later on a beautiful esrog. You say, well, let me at least do the Hiddur mitzvah part. Okay, at 9 o'clock I shook an esrog on Sukkot, and then at 9:30, okay, I get to the mitzvah. Then at 9:30, I found a beautiful esrog. Oh, I might as well do the Hiddur mitzvah now. So seemingly, what I'm saying now is wrong, but seemingly that will be totally the machlokes of the Rambam and the Ramah. According to the Rambam, that's it. You're ready to do the mitzvah at 9 o'clock. You can't do a Hiddur half an hour later. But according to the Ramah, why not? You could do the mitzvah at 9 o'clock, and you could do the Hiddur at 9:30. Seemingly. No, not on Shabbos. It's not on Shabbos.
Yeah, you didn't cut the Ramah on Shabbos. On Shabbos, you couldn't do that.
Do what? Shake the esrog?
Yeah.
On Shabbos, you don't take an esrog lulav. Last time I checked, so we'll leave that right now. But we're talking about now the bris milah. Okay, what I'm saying now is wrong, but it's too complicated. But I'm just bringing it to get the point across. Okay, so what I got to do is probably teach China. So says the Grizz, this machlokes of the Ramah and the Rambam by bris milah will be the same machlokes over here by Chanukah. Everyone holds the main mitzvah, the main mitzvah is the one light. The one light, that's the main mitzvah, finished. That's the main mitzvah. The one candle. Everything else is extra credit. The Rambam holds the extra credit, even though it'd be nice to get everyone involved, and it's like hands-on Judaism, it's a really good thing, especially in Kiruv. It's nice to get everyone involved. The Rambam says you can't let everyone else light. That's going to be a break. If the father lights his light, and all of a sudden some random guy, the random kids start doing their lights, where's the connection? There's no bigger parish. There's no bigger differentiation or difference or separation. If the father does the main, and all of a sudden some the outside sons do the Hiddur. So therefore the Rambam perforce, maybe he would want the kids to get involved, but they can't. Because if the whole point is that there's the main mitzvah, which is the one light, and then there's the mahadrin, the added tosefet, added embellishment, it's got to be done by one person. It's got to be done by one person. Because that's the Rambam Shita by Mila, that the Hiddur and the mitzvah have to be done simultaneously, have to be done in tandem, right?
As far as I know, the Rambam also holds that on the second night you can have someone else light the second candle.
As far as you know, that's very far from what the truth is. No, the Rambam says explicitly many times, no one else lights in the house. No one else lights the Rambam. I'm not going to Minhag Sfardi. I'm not going to Minhag Sfardi. The Rambam.
Not a different menorah. On the same menorah, I'm saying. You have 3 candles on there. Let's say the third night.
No, he never said that.
Father lights all 3 of them.
Everything. Father's always lighting. Father's always lighting. So since the Rambam holds the Hiddur and the Guf Mitzvah must be done right next to each other, Teichei Dibur, so therefore, by force, the father has to do everything. But the Ramah, we just said that what's the Ramah Shita by Bris Milah. No, the Hiddur and the actual mitzvah could be separate. They don't have to be done right next to each other. There could be a half an hour break. So why not let the father do the main lighting, the one candle, and then let the kids get involved too. And they could do the Hiddur, and everyone's all involved. The family, a family event, a family project, and the father does the main. The kids do the Hiddur. I do the separation. There is no separation. We don't care about the separation because the Hiddur and the Gufa Mitzvah are considered attached even if they're done at separate times and even if they're done by separate people. That's the famous Grizz to explain some random achlokes by Bris Milah is the same achlokes by Chanukah.
Can't you say that the Rambam can hold that different people could light at the same time in the same place?
Okay, that's a legitimate question. The Grizz obviously holds that just like if it's a half an hour or whatever, a minute break, that's called separation. He would hold different people doing it, we call separation. But there are people who critique the Grizz because of what you asked. But that's good. Okay, famous Grizz, everyone knows this Grizz, right? You've all heard of it for sure. Right, this little chazara on the Grizz. Now, fine. The problem is that all the big Rosh Hashivas ask is seemingly the Grizz is way off target here. He's coming with a certain understanding, and based on his understanding, he's setting up this whole construct. But seemingly, there's a whole different way to understand this. Now, meaning, if someone stopped you in the street and say, okay, we know the main thing is the main mitzvah is the father lights, and that's more than enough, and everyone is Yotze their Chiyuv, and everyone is good. But if you want to do an extra level, Mahadrin, so what does the Ramah say you do? Each child or each adult in the house lights on his own. So seemingly, what does that mean that each adult in the house lights on his own? What does that Mahadrin mean? Seemingly, I would have said, it means that the adult child, let's say the 15-year-old says, I am not being Yotze with my father. It is true that my father could light for all of us, and we're doing it, and my father is my shliach, and he's doing it for all of us simultaneously, and he's being motzi all of us simultaneously, and the one light, the one nair is suffice for all of us. The Mahadrin level is not to do that. Tell Dad, I'm on my own. I don't want you to be motzi me. I'm going to do it on my own. Seemingly, that's what the Ramah holds. That's what the Mahadrin is. That is what the Mahadrin is. The Mahadrin is not an embellishment. It's not like an esrig, a nice esrig. It's not like Bris Milah, you do 99%, you're supposed to take off the extra strands. The Mahadrin is that I tell Dad, I got nothing to do with you, Dad. I'm not embellishing your one candle. I'm doing it my own. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. That's seemingly the way to understand it. If that is true, then the whole entire Grizz makes zero sense. Because the Grizz is starting to talk about, the whole issue is you have a Hiddur and you have a Gufa Mitzvah. How close do they have to be done? How in tandem? How close do they have to be done? I have an embellishment, I have the main, and I have the embellishment. Like we said, you could shake an esrig, and then yoitza, then you want to shake another esrig for the hiddur, right? Or the mila. You're doing the bris mila, well, you have a little extra strands. You want to make it a little bit nicer. But according to this understanding, they could be worlds apart. Why? Because according to this understanding, when the kid lights, he's not embellishing the father's light. He's not an addition onto the father. On the contrary, he's deserting the father. He's separating from the father. So there's no conversation. Oh, how close is the extra neighbors to the father's neighbor? They don't got to be close at all. They don't do with each other. So if you're going to tell me, oh, the Ramah l'shitasai, because the Ramah holds that the Hiddur doesn't have to be next to the mitzvah. That's a misapplication in our situation over here. Because in our situation, there is no embellishment on the father's lighting. It's its own separate lighting. And therefore, you can't say Ramah and Rambam l'shitasai. On the contrary, the Rambam could have learned like the Ramah, because if he would have learned like Ramah, it would have nothing to do with Mila. It would have nothing to do with that. It's a whole different conversation. It's a mistake. The conversation has no application. Do you hear this chilik? Okay, good. Clear. Oh. Now how do I know this is right? Meaning, how do I know that this is the way most people would learn the Ramah? Because Rabbi Akiva Eiger clearly learns this way. Because Rabbi Akiva Eiger had the Shiloh. Famous Shiloh. Here you are. So you're on the third night. You're on the third night. And you only have oil. You only have oil for one light. Okay, oil for one light. You do it. Oil for one light. Now you're a single guy. You're in the house, a single guy, right? So usually you should do 3. It's the third night. You want to do mahadrim and a mahadrim. You want to do 3 lights. So you only have one light, and you light it. You make the bracha. You light it. Great. 10 minutes later, you get a delivery. All of a sudden, oil comes. Miraculously, you have a Chanukah miracle. All of a sudden, oil comes. You say, "Wow, I could do another 2 now." So certainly, you should do another 2 now. Why not? Right? Do you make a bracha or not? That's the question. That's the question. Do you make a bracha or not? So again, you hear this situation. You got to make. We're doing the single guy. We're talking about mahadrim and mahadrim. The single guy, he did 1 light. He did the main mitzvah. Then he says, "Oh wait, I could do now another 2." He didn't do the other 2 because he didn't have the oil. And then 10 minutes later, he got a delivery of oil, a miracle. He wouldn't believe it. Should he light again? Of course he should light the 2 or 3. Why not? Why shouldn't he do the mahadrin? Does he make a bracha? Says Rabbi Akiva Eiger, no, there's no bracha on mahadrin. There's only bracha on the main mitzvah. There's no bracha on mahadrin. So it says that's the Rabbi Akiva Eiger pasuk. There's no bracha on mahadrin. So Frek Rabbi Akiva Eiger, what do you mean there's no bracha on mahadrin? That's what every Ashkenazi family. That's what they do. What do they do? The father lights with the bracha, the kids light with the bracha. So we see there is bracha on mahadrin. How could Rabbi Akiva Eiger say that there's no bracha on mahadrin when we know for a fact that every adult in the family makes the bracha?
Yeah, but it's different.
So wait a minute. So the father makes the bracha, and l'chayr the kids are doing just mahadrin. Oh, so Rabbi Akiva Eiger asks this out himself, and he says, "No, you're making a mistake. When you're dealing with the single guy, let's talk about the single guy." Right, in the house. He was supposed to do 3 lights. He did 1. That's it. The other 2 weren't there. All of a sudden, miraculously, another 2 come. So you can't say the original bracha he had in mind about the extra 2 lights because he didn't have it in mind. So he didn't think it was going to show up. So now he's lighting the extra 2 lights. So here, this clearly is the embellishment type of Hiddur. This is clearly embellishment. Because it's one person. He already did 1 light. He wants to add another couple more lights that it should represent the days of Chanukah. Here, clearly, we're talking about the classic case of Hiddur. You have the main mitzvah. You want to embellish it. On the embellishing, you don't make a bracha. But the Brit says the mahadrin situation, of course you make a bracha. Because what is the mahadrin situation? That the kids are saying, we're not yotzei with the father. The kids are not embellishing the father. The kids say, "Dad, you do what you want. We have nothing to do with you. Your bracha has nothing to do with us. We are adults. We're taking care of it ourselves. We don't be yotzei with you."
We just need you to
So it comes out. It's pretty amazing. When the Gemara says mehadrin, what it really means is that the second level is the kids light on their own. They are not embellishing the father. Mahadrin, mina mahadrin, actually means embellishment. Because Mahadim and Mahadim just means you personally add more. It could be the kids also add on their own, right? So I see from Akiva Eiger's understanding of the Ramah that he understood the Ramah not like the Grizz. Because the Grizz says, the Ramah's issue has to do with the Bris Milah, about the klolius, the general laws of Hiddur Mitzvah, how close it has to be to the Guf HaMitzvah, to the main Mitzvah. But according to our understanding, and the Pashut understanding is, the Ramah has nothing to do with embellishing the father's candle. On the contrary, what the kid is doing is not being Yotze, not having any connection to his father, and each person is being Yotze on his own. Okay, so obviously it could be the Grizz argues over Akiva Eiger, but I'm just setting it up. On the other hand, it's a little funny. It comes out when the Gemara says Mahadrin and Mahadrin, it's two different. It's total different worlds. It's total different worlds. Mahadrin means it's just a way to say a better way to do it, but the better way to do it is not embellishing the father. Each person is Yotza on his own, each child. And Mahadrin, that for sure means embellishment. That means each individual person does more light. Okay, fine. So we're going to now put forth another way to explain the Machlokes in the Rambam and the Ramah. Why they argue. Why is it the Rambam and the Ramah argue? We're not going to use the Brisker Wells way. We're going to say another way. At the end of this year, which we'll never get to, maybe we'll put the two together. But for right now, for our purposes, we'll say, let's say that the Brisker Wells, we're not going to accept the Brisker Wells understanding right now.
Well, according to the Akiva Eiger, they don't argue, right? The Rambam just are talking about that.
Well, we're going to talk about that. That's what we're going to talk about that. Okay? So now, meaning, according to, let's say, according to Rabbi Akiva Eiger and the Ramah's understanding, if you understand Rabbi Akiva Eiger's, let's say the father lit, and the kid said, yes, Dad, light for all of us. And then a minute later, one of the kids said, no, I want to light my own. I want to do my Hiddur. It's too late. Because according to the Ramah, the Rabbi Akiva Eiger and the Ramah, the whole point is that the kid has to say, I don't want to be Yotze with the father. That's the whole Mahadran. So you can't. So if the kid said, yeah, Dad lights for me too, I'm too lazy. And then 5 minutes later says, no, I want to light too. It's too late. You can't do it. You can't do it. Because that's it. The whole Mahadran is that you don't want to be part of the father's lighting. Once you're part, you're part. Once you're Yotze, you're Yotze. That would be, I'm just putting forth, there are many different nafminas. Okay.
Such a case of where would hold you.
Exactly.
What does Mahadran mean then?
Mahadran means,
Is it a din in pursuing Nisa?
Mahadran, yeah, for sure it's all about having more light. That's for sure. No, there's no question about it. It's about lighting more.
If the person is doing it, then there's no Mahadran. It's just
That's the Mahadran. You have a group of the whole family. They could all do it in one light, meaning in this one light, Dad is being Yotze, Mom, the big brother, little brother, sister, everyone is being Yotze in one light. Or Dad says, let's not be cheap, everyone. Let everyone do it on their own. And of course that means there'll be more lights. But the Mahadran means there'll be more lights, obviously. But how are there more lights? Because each one is doing their own thing on their own.
Or one light.
What?
One candle.
Right. We do at the end of the day, Mahadran and Mahadran.
Yeah.
That each one does not only separates, but they also add on. So it comes out, the Mahadran. So,
someone do Mahadran and they haven't done Mahadran yet? Like, if the kid that decided 5 minutes later after he goes to his father to go light a bunch by itself instead of doing one by himself.
no, that's the whole point. No. According to Ramah, again, it's a little confusing. But you got it. We're good here. Now, so Rabbi Isai.
Okay, just to clarify, the Machlokes by Chanukah,
Yeah.
the Ramah holds, the original Machlokes, Rambam.
Ramah holds that you have 5 kids, each one lights separately. Like you do in your house. That's what Ramah's like what you do in your house.
And Rambam holds this.
Dad lights the extra candles for everyone. Rambam holds, let's say there are 5 kids, Dad lights 6 candles at one time. That's what the Rambam holds. Yes, even on the first night. And the second night, Dad will light 12 candles. And the third night, Dad will light 18 candles. It's all Dad. It's all about Dad. Okay? It's all about the father. Got it? Good? Okay.
And that's not true.
Well, That's Mahadrin represents the family. Mahadrin is to represent the days.
Right. And if it's the third night, the father immediately lights 3 for everything.
Excellent. There we go. That's exactly it. And according to the Ramah, each person,
We'll go right through lights.
they do it on their own. Okay, now, Rabbi Isai. So here we are. Let's give another, the most famous Chakira. I'm about to tell you the most famous Chakira. And with this Chakira, we're going to explain the Machlokes, the Rambam, and the Ramah. Right? What is the most famous Chakira? The famous Chakira is, how do you read this Gemara, Ner, Ish, Ubeisai? 3 words. Ner, Ish, Ubeisai. The Ikar Takana, before the Mahadrin, the Ikar Takana is Ner, Ish, Ubeisai. What does that mean? Is it a Chayvus HaBayis or Chayvus HaGavra? Very good. Right? Right. Meaning. Let's make it, let's try to explain this. A mezuzah. Let's say you have 5 people living in the house. Right? And you need a mezuzah. That is clearly called a chayvus habayis. The chiyuv, what is generating the chiyuv? What generates the problem? The house. Let's say you have 5 people living on the streets. You don't need a mezuzah. You got 10,000 people living on the street. You don't need the mezuzah. You need the mezuzah if you have a house. The house is generating the chiyuv, right? So okay, so you got 5 people, 5 adults living in the house. So how do you look at it? Who has to put up the mezuzah? The answer is you're a corporation. You're a committee. It's no chiyuv on anyone in particular. It's a chiyuv on everyone together. Because what?
I'm the owner of the house.
Yeah, everyone's the owner. Make life simple. Everyone's an owner. Make life simple. You got 5 people living in this house. It's like a leaky. You got an apartment building. There's a leak in one of the pipes.
Yeah.
So what's generating the problem? The house. The apartment building is generating the problem. Who has to fix it? Everyone in the house. But it's not on everyone individual. It's a collective responsibility. It's called a corporation, right? Right? Is that what menorah is about? Is that what Chanukah is about? Is that what it's about? Again, we're talking about the main chiyuv. 1 light for the whole house. Is the pshat, it's a chayv the bayis, which means the house is the problem. It's like a mezuzah. And therefore, everyone in the house acts as a corporation, as a committee. They got to get it done. Right? Is that the pshat? Now, if you say that actually makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Why did Gemara make sense? Why did they say ner ishu beisai? Why could one? You ever find the mitzvah like that? There are 5 adults in the family. 1 guy could shake a lulav. No, everyone has a shofar. Only 1 guy in the family has to hear the shofar. The 18-year-old and the 17-year-old and the 16-year-old don't got to hear the shofar. What is this business all of a sudden by Chanukah light? The dad on the basic level, the main level, just the dad does it. What's that? What's that supposed to mean? The kids are playing video games, and the dad does it for that. What's going on over here? But if you learn that it's the chiyuv on it's the chayv habayis, that's the whole entire reason why you need a menorah. Is the way the rabbi set it up. Obviously you need a The question is how do they construct this chiyuv? If you say that the way they construct the chiyuv is that the house generates the obligation, a house needs a ner. So it makes sense. You only need 1 ner. Because how many mezuzahs do you need? You have 5 people living in the house. You put up 5 mezuzahs. You put up 1 mezuzah. Put up 1 mezuzah. Here you got one. So you put up 1 ner, and you're yotzeh, and therefore the father can light for everyone. It's not that the father is a shliach for everyone. It's not the father is like a shliach. It's that the father, there's a corporation. So if anyone in the corporation does it, they're all like one entity. They're like one entity because it's a committee that has the problem. So it's not like the father is appointed by the kids. Oh, okay, Dad, we got to do it, but you do it for us. No, everyone's got to do it. And if anyone in the corporation does it, it's like one entity. It's like one body. So it's automatically done for everyone, right? So the Gemara actually makes a lot more sense if you say it's a chayvus ha-bayis, right? Oh, fine. Now, or do you say no? Or you say no. It's a chayvus ha-gavra. Meaning, really, every person has to light the menorah. Just like every person has to put on tefillin, and every person has to blow shofar, every person has to shake a lulav, everyone hears shofar, every person has to light a menorah. So really, every house needs 5 menorahs. Because it's not that the house is generating the chiyuv. It's the person that's generating the chiyuv. For example, you have a lulav and you have a person. It's the lulav that's generating the chiyuv, or it's the person that's generating. It's because of the person that God said the person has to shake the lulav. It's nothing to do with the lulav. The obligation being generated from the person. God said, you got to take a lulav, right? So, in principle, if you learn that way, there should be 5 candles. And on the contrary, everyone tries to grapple and said, if you learn Chayvus HaGavra, which by the way makes, that, now you put through, I say, yeah, it's a good question. What is a menorah? Is it like a mezuzah? Is it like tefillin? So I presume you would say right away, well, it's like, yeah, everyone's got a light. Everyone's got a light. Everyone's got to blow a shofar. Everyone's got to do a lulav. I mean, Chayvus HaGavra, right? But then you say, no, maybe it's like mezuzah, right? It's an interesting thing. So, truth is, it's hard. It is very hard to understand the Gemara. If you learn Chayvus HaGavra, so why is it that the father could light for everyone? It really doesn't make too much sense. You have to say, and the Achronim say, the thing that really every person has to light. Every person has to light. And there's a big, major Kiddush that on the basic level, the rabbi said the father can be a shliach for everyone. When the father lights, says, I'm lighting for Yankel and for Shimshin and for Leroy and for all the kids. But it's a major Kiddush because, okay, if everyone has to light, okay, the father's my shliach. But how could they all use one candle? How could one candle work for all 5 people? So it's really difficult to understand this big Kiddush. So basically like this, you're reading the Gemara. Tanabanan, Ner Isha Beisai. This is a simple way to learn it. Oh yeah, of course. It's a Chayvus HaBayis. And makes, right, you need, the house needs something. So yeah, it makes sense. You're right, one light. It's a committee, it's a collective responsibility. They got the one light. Very simple. If you read Tanar Rabbanan the other way, it's a Chayvus HaGavra. Everyone has to light. Everyone has to light. It's a responsibility on everyone, and everyone has to have their own light. And the big Kiddush, Ner Isha Beisai, for some reason, other rabbis decided maybe it's too much money. They said, you know what? We're going to allow this dispensation that the father can be a shliach for everyone, and we'll make believe that the light is, even though it's one candle, it's considered like it's been done for everyone. It's a big Kiddush, right? Chayvus Bayis, Chayvus HaGavra. Let's talk about some nafkaminas here. Very simple. When the father's light, does he have, let's say you do the basic way. One candle, that's it. Does he have to have in mind to be motzi the kids? If you learn Chayvus HaBayis, he doesn't have to have in mind anything. No one has to have in mind anything. It's a corporation, and the house needs to be fixed. The house is fixed. 5 people live in an apartment. The pipe is leaking. One guy fixed the pipe. He has to mind that I'm doing it for everyone. The pipe is fixed, that's it. The pipe is fixed. It's done. It was everyone's joint responsibility. One guy was nice to do it. He's doing it for everyone automatically. But if you learn Chayvus HaGavra, that means each one really has to light on their own. That means when the father lights, he's being motzi each individual. So that means the father has to have in mind that he wants to be motzi, and the kid has to have in mind, I want my father to be motzi me. Right? What will be the major league nafkamina? This is the major league nafkamina. There are like 50 nafkaminas. A guy is homeless. A guy is homeless.
He has no house.
He has no house. He has no house. Right? Does he have to buy a house? Does he have to buy a house to light a Chanukah menorah? So you'll be shocked to hear Rabbi Yosef Paskins, he's got to buy a house.
Only up to 20% of his money.
No. Okay. Meaning, let's say a guy is homeless.
Yeah, rent is easier.
A guy's homeless. A guy's homeless. And he says, oh, I can't do the mitzvah mezuzah. Shouldn't I buy a house to do the mitzvah mezuzah? That's ridiculous. You don't need to buy a house to do the mitzvah because it's only if you have the house generates the mitzvah. If you don't have a house, you don't have the mitzvah. So no one has to buy a house to do mezuzah, or no one has to buy a house to put a micah. You don't got to buy the house. It's only if you have the house. So what about if you're homeless and you don't have a house and you want to do the Chanukah menorah? If you learn it's Chayvus HaBayis, you don't have to buy a house, because if the way the Rabbanan constructed the mitzvah is that the house is broken and you got to fix it, well, if there ain't no house, you don't got to fix it. But if you learn it's Chayvus HaGavra, that means you have to light a ner. Just like you. Let's say if you don't have why do you need to ask? Because let's say a lulav, right? Would anyone say, I don't have to buy a lulav? I have to buy a lulav. Why? I don't have a lulav because there's a chayv. So why do I shake a lulav? Why don't I shake a frying pan? There are certain tefillin. Do I have to buy tefillin? Of course I have to buy tefillin. Well, why did I buy one of these red strings and that's it? Right? Clearly, there are ways to do the mitzvah. So what's the mitzvah? The mitzvah's on me. I have to light a candle on my house. I can't light a Christmas tree. That's not going to fly. So just like I can't do a Christmas tree, I have to also light it in a certain place. What is that place? On the house. I don't put the tefillin on my chin. I got a certain place to put it, right? So here too. If it's chayvus agavra, we say, Mr. Homeless Man, you got to light a Chanukah menorah. You got to buy yourself a house. The chiyuv is generated from you, and you got to make sure you get it done. Just like we tell Mr. Homeless Man, he's got to buy a lulav, he's got to buy a chauffeur, and he's got to buy tefillin. But if you learn it's chayvus Bayis, the Mr. Homeless Man says, I got no problem. It ain't broke, don't fix. Right? I got no problem.
I mean, he has a
So, this is a major league machlekes. Rabbi Yasher Paskin's unbelievable. You have to buy a house. A homeless person must buy a house. And about the question, about 20%, we're not going to go through that right now. How much money he has to spend on this house, right? So this is right now. This is now. Where does it all come to? Play out? This is really machlekes and Tosfos and Sukkah. We all know, the little bit we know is there's something called a birkas haroya. We know that concept. There's a concept in halacha that you've all heard of, that someone who doesn't have a menorah, doesn't have a Chanukah, doesn't have a menorah, but he's in the street, you see this, he makes a bracha. That's called birkas haroya. So, you got this 1 in a million guy, for some reason or other he didn't light a menorah, right? Maybe he was on an airplane, well, you can't get involved right now, he didn't light a menorah. He sees the menorah light, he says, I'm birkas haroya. So Tosfos asks the question, I don't understand. There are a lot of people out there who don't do mezuzah because they don't have a house. Why isn't there a bracha for all the homeless people? Just like you're making a bracha for the homeless people who don't have menorah, make a bracha for the homeless people who don't have mezuzah. That's Tosfos' question. That's the question. And he says, you know what, you're right, the Chanukah is Psuminisa, it's so important, yeah, whatever Tosfos answers. There's a special bracha by Chanukah because Psuminisa is chaviv. Wait, let's understand, his question makes no sense. His question is, just like you have a birkas haroya Chanukah, why don't you have a birkas haroya by mezuzah? So let's see. If you learn that Chanukah is a chayvus gavra, so then his question makes no sense. Let's go to homeless guy. Homeless guy, you know you didn't put up mezuzah today. He says, yes, so what? Don't you feel guilty about that? No, I got no house. I got nothing to put up. Don't you feel guilty? No, I don't feel guilty about that. So why should you make a bracha? But if you learn Chanukah is a chayvus gavra, we say, Mr. Homeless Guy, you know, you didn't light menorah. I know, I feel so bad about that because I really have to buy a house. I just couldn't afford it. It's really a chiyuv is generating from me. So I really feel bad about that. Oh, so we'll give you a bracha, we'll give you a booby prize, we'll give you a consolation prize. If you learn that mezuzah is chayvus Bayis, that's for sure. Mezuzah is sure chayvus Bayis, and a menorah is chayvus gavra, then it's clear the difference why you make a birkas haroya by a Chanukah and you don't have birkas by mezuzah. For example, let's say your guy has to put on tefillin. He has no arms. So how do you look at it? That, you're putter? No. You're chayv, you just can't do it. A person that has no arms is chayv and tefillin. He just can't do it. No head? Well, then he's got bigger problems. Right? So, right? No brain dust. Doctor, we said no brain dust. Don't cut me into there. I know what you're trying to do, doctor. I know what you're trying to do. But look, right? So basically, what are we talking about? Oh, yes. So a guy who has no arms, it's not the pshat that he has no mitzvah. Or a guy has no lulav, has no shofar. Okay, he can't do the mitzvah, but he has to do it. He can't. It's called the onus. So if we say that Chanukah is a chayvus gavra, same thing. If he has no house, he has to do it, but he can't. But if you learn it's chayvus habayis, he has no problem. It's like a guy who has no house, he has to put up mezuzah, right? Even if you have a house, you put up mezuzah. You got to put mezuzah in someone else's house? No, it's only right. So this is the so now, based on we're getting late, but based on the Rishonim over here, how they deal with it, you see some Rishonim hold chayvus gavra and some Rishonim hold a chayvus habayis. Okay. Yeah. Another nafkamina. Very similar nafkamina. two guys living in a house. They have nothing to do with each other. There's like a tape going across the house. You don't talk to me, I don't talk to you. You don't talk to me and I don't talk to you. They have nothing to do with each other. But there's one door. They happen to come out of one house. There's one door. Do you have to put up two lights or do you put up one light? So if you learn Yeshivat Ohr Somayach, you just put up one light because that's it. Who does a different issue? But that's it. The house just needs to be fixed and you fixed it. That's it. There's no issue. There's no. Okay, we're talking about the Ikar Mitzvah. We're talking about the Ikar Mitzvah. That's it. You fixed it. But if you learn Yeshivat Gavra, for sure, each one has to do it alone. Because only by ner issue, basically, only when you're part of the family, we have a special dispensation, which is very hard to understand in the first place. We said we don't understand the dispensation in the first place. But the father somehow or other could do it for everyone, and they could all be yotze with one light. But if there are two people that have no connection to each other, and you learn Yeshivat Gavra, clearly each one has to light on his own, right? So this is also another famous nafkin of the whole Yeshivat Gavra. So Rabbi side, let's get to the punchline. So the punchline will be is that So it could be that itself is the machlokes between the Rambam and the Rambam. That's what we're going to say here. The machlokes of how we light the candles is based on this machlokes of Yeshivat Gavra, Yeshivat Bayis. The Rambam is going to hold this Yeshivat Bayis, and the Rambam is going to hold this Yeshivat Gavra. Now, the Rambam actually basically says it's Yeshivat Bayis. When he talks about the Chanukah menorah, he said like this: each house needs to have a menorah. That's why he words it. He words it, Mitzvah she called Bayis. So right away he talks about each house. That's like each person. He says each house. Also he says later on, and don't think it makes a difference if it's a house with one person or a house with 10 people. It doesn't make a difference how many people live in the house. You still need, each house needs. Right? Right? Now, if you say Yeshivat Gavra, why would I think it's a difference between one person living in the house, 10 people living in the house? If it's Yeshivat Gavra, I'm the one who has to light. The house is just being utilized for my purpose. So of course, what's the difference? One person living in the house, 10 people living in the house, I have to light. But if you learn as Yeshivat Bayis, then I can understand. Maybe a big house needs to have a menorah. Maybe a small house doesn't need to have a menorah. Maybe a house with a big population needs a menorah. Maybe a little house doesn't need a menorah. Because then it's all about the house. So it makes sense. We can start talking about, well, how many people live in the house. Okay. So bottom line is the Rambam clearly holds that it's Yeshivat Bayis. Oh, so now let's get it straight. Let's go. We're going to go into Ramah's world. Basically, we're going to repeat what we said before. Almost done. We're going to repeat what we said before. In the Ramah's world, if you learn it's Yeshivat Gavra, really, each kid should light on his own. Each kid should light on his own. What do we say? We said, yeah, but it costs a lot of money, so they made a special Chiddush. The father could be a shliach for everyone, and everyone could, somehow or other, we could look at it as each ner is set for everyone, even though it's one candle. We sort of see it has been lit for everyone, but that's all a very big leniency, a big kula, a big dispensation. So what's Mahadran say? Don't rely on that kula. If each one should actually light a candle on his own, and ner issue besa, which is the basic level, is some type of leniency, or some type of dispensation, what does Mahadran say? No. Each one, Mahadran is each one should light on his own. Each one should separate himself from the father, and each one should have their own candle. So that's why the Ramah understands Mahadran means each one lights it. The dad lights, and then the kids light separately. Because that is the whole concept of Mahadran. The whole concept of Mahadran is to, since it's Yeshivat Gavra, since in principle each one should have lit on his own, and since in principle each one is a separate entity, and Ner Ishabayse is just a kula, so Mahadran is act on the principle. Don't act on the dispensation. Don't act on the leniency. That's what Mahadran is. Each one should light on his own, and each one should do the mitzvah on his own, and each one should have their own light, because it's a Yeshivat Gavra. Each one generates a chiv. So if each one generates a chiv, it makes sense each one should have their own light. But if the Rambam learns the other way, it's Yeshivat Bayis, that the whole entire all you have to do by Chanukah is fix the house. Right? If it's all generating from one source, if the chiyuv of the menorah is generating from the house, doesn't it make sense to, when you light, whether you do the first level, second level, third level, whatever level you do, it makes sense you should do it at one time, because the problem is emanating from one source. So however you're going to light, the best way, the second best way, it makes sense to do it simultaneous. Why does it make sense to do it simultaneously? Because the source is coming from one source, so all the lightings that you do should be done from one source. So it makes sense that the father should light it all. It's like, for example, you have a leaky pipe. Okay, you have a leaky pipe. So you fix it 90, you fix it 100%. But you know what? You could make it a little better. You could add extra coating or extra insulation. So you have 5 people. So doesn't it make sense? Okay, we're fixing the pipe. Let's get the job done. Let's do the best job at one point, at one shot. Let's get the best. No, let's do it this way. Let one guy fix it 90, 100%. Let another guy add on another extra level of coating. Let another guy add on an extra level of insulation. I'm saying it's not that it's impossible. It's just impractical. It makes sense. You got a problem. You're fixing it. the best way possible. So just fix it in one shot, the best way possible. In other words, say if it's a corporation, it doesn't make sense that everybody in the corporation should do it separately. The whole concept of corporation is that one person is everyone. If it's Yeshivat Bayis, it doesn't make sense that everyone should do it separately. You're fixing the house, let's fix it. Why should we fix it at separate times? You want to fix it a good way, so fix it a good way. So therefore, that's the answer. That's the machlokes in the Rambam and the Ramah. The Ramah holds it's Yeshivat HaGavra. And therefore, the Mahadran makes sense. Each one does it separately. That is the Mahadran. The Mahadran is each Gavra does it on his own. But the Rambam holds it was Yeshivat Bayis. So the only embellishment you could have is to fix it better, more lights, nicer lights. But it makes sense that it be done at one time. Why should you do it separately? Well, it makes no sense separate. There is no separate in the Rambam. The whole separate doesn't exist in the Rambam. It's all corporations. It's all responsible, right? You understand? So this is the way to explain the machlokes between the Rambam and the Ramah. Unlike so basically the Grizz is explaining it's a old machlokes by all Hiddur Mitzvah. It's an old machlokes because basically the Grizz is learning that it's complicated. The Grizz is going to learn that everyone holds its Yeshivat Bayis. He's not going to learn that one holds Yeshivat Bayis, one holds Yeshivat Gavra. He's going to learn everyone holds its Yeshivat Bayis, and it's always an embellishment on the original lighting. And it's an old machlokes that we have by Bris Milah. And the Rambam is going, according to this interpretation, we're going to say the Ramah holds its Yeshivat Gavra, and the Rambam holds that it is Yeshivat HaBayis. Okay, Rabbi say I have a lot more here to say. But oh Lord. If you just think about it, if you just stop for a minute, it comes out, the Mahadran of the Grizz on one level makes a lot more sense. Mahadran of the Grizz means each person lights separately. I mean, the Hadran is, I'm divorcing myself from the father, we're going to have 5 mitzvahs happening. The Mahadran of the Rambam really makes no sense. Let's make lights according to the household. So, Dad, how many kids do you have in your house? 6. Light 6 lights. What does the number of kids in the house have to do with anything? It's so random. Dad, why are you lighting 6 lights? Yeshivat Bayis. It's one collective responsibility, but we're going to do it the nice way. What's the nice way? We're going to light candles according to the number of kids. Why don't you light candles according to what you did in the stock market today? Light candles according to how many buses pass the street that day. It's just totally random. You understand? According to the Ramah, it makes a lot of sense when you say according to the number of kids. Because that really means is each kid lights separately. Does that make sense? Each kid is doing the mitzvah on their own. But according to the Rambam, it's just like random. It's like a random thing. Let's light lights according to the number of kids. Why? What do they got to do with pricing China? So there's something you have to think about. Everybody say, we're going to stop here right now, but We're just going to say one little part. Take 1 minute. So according to, how many lights are there in the menorah? 36, right? 36 lights in the menorah, right? 36. We're not counting the shamash, right? 36. Now, so by Mahadrim and Mahadrin, what does Beis Hillel hold? Like we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What does Beis Shammai hold? We all know? Right. So, if you start from Parshas Bereshis and you count 36 Parshas forward, meaning forward represents ascending, you get the Parshas Baloischa. 36 Parshas from Bereshis forward, you get the Parshas Baloischa. And what does it start there? Baloischa talks about Baloischa es hanei rois. It's talking about menorah, and it's lashon rabim. So that is analogous, or that is parallel to Beis Hillel, because 36 forward is ascending, and according to the Beis Hillel, as you go forward, you have more neiros. So it says neiros. Let's say you go from Bereshis 36 parshas backwards. What do you get? Parsha Tetzaveh. Everyone knows that. You get the Parsha Tetzaveh, and what's the first pasuk in Parsha Tetzaveh? What's the first pasuk in Parsha Tetzaveh? It is. Get there. It is. Here we go. V'yichalech Hashem and Zayis Zach Kos Lamar Lahalis Ner Tamid. So Ner is one Ner. So that's analogous to Beis Shammai, because going backwards is descending. Right? Going backwards is descending. So Beis Shammai says the way you do it is you descend. So 36 backwards, which is like descending, backwards going down. You get Ner, which is the lashon Yochid, like Beis Shammai. 36 forward from Bereshis, what do you get? Neiros, which is like Beis Hillel. Okay, Rabbi Isai.